when the massive overrun at the Cornwall Regional Hospital down there in Montego Bay, St. James, was said to cost the taxpayers $2 billion initially. Did they challenge that to say that it was excessive? When the Minister of Health, U.S. Congress, has not authorized any such military action. Now, these are the type of leaders that, grab my attention, and I will show my utmost respect. When you're so precise, when you can come out and stand against injustice, when you can come out and give a direct message, then blessings, ABR family and viewers. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Isabel Rose. And in this one, the government takes issue after the court ordered for them to pay George Williams some $120 million after he spent almost his entire life in prison without a trial. They're challenging, saying that it is too excessive. As well as Congresswoman Clarke slams U.S. military strikes in the Pacific. Please stay tuned for the details at hand. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So, a quick backstory on Mr. George Williams. He was basically imprisoned over the alleged death of a man. They found him to be of unsound mind, so therefore he couldn't have pled. And so he was imprisoned for some 50 years without a trial. Now, a lawyer who goes by the name of Isaac Buchanan, who is a champion for the Constitution, was basically hired by, I believe it was, Justice Group, and he was successful in getting the, government to release George Williams, who is said to be now 80 years old, I believe, and he was awarded by a judge $120 million. Now, after all this time, when we thought that this man have received his funds and, him caretakers, I helped take care of him, that was far from the case. So the government says they are challenging this $120 million that was awarded to him, saying that it is too excessive. Can you imagine?
Today I can say, thank the Lord, my brother is out. And boy, the journey will be hard, but I'm prepared for it.
This is certainly what I like to call swift justice, and so I'm very happy to know that all of this happened in 7 days. Certainly in a perfect society, you could appreciate that this is what we want for our justice system. And so I would just implore all and please all defense attorneys that there are many of our brothers and sisters still in there, and we need to be able to assist them like we did for George.
It's just the beginning. We have plenty more, and we are committed to trying to. We got some funds, and we got the attorney, we got the psychiatrist, and I am ready to go for the whole of them one by one until I will make sure that mentally ill are not locked in prison.
I think one of the misconceptions we have about persons with mental illness is that their functional state is permanent and that they cannot. So Williams has been on medication and is consistently being treated through the correctional services. I must applaud them for that. And certainly that his mental facets have improved since 1970 when he was incarcerated on a psychiatrist. And he has shown significant improvement. He does have some persistent psychotic symptoms, but they do not interfere with his ability to either engage or understand what's going on. And I see that's one of the issues that we have to deal with. But the reality is that what we all agree on is that the best place for Mr. Williams is for him to be at home with his relatives and for his treatment to be provided in the least restrictive environment. And I think that's what happened to here today, and I think that's a wonderful thing.
I'm feeling so elated right now. After 50 years, and he's finally free. Words can't even explain how I'm feeling right now. I'm really, really grateful. Thanks to Jamaica Stand-Up Group, Mr. Buchanan and his team. He did a very great job in such a short time. And I hope for the rest of inmates that is in there incarcerated just the same time like Mr. George Williams, I hope justice will be served in the short space of time that justice has been served to my uncle, George Williams.
So make we ask them something, ABR family and viewers, well-thinking Jamaicans. When the massive overrun at the Cornwall Regional Hospital down there in Montego Bay, St. James, was said to cost the taxpayers $2 billion initially. Did they challenge that to say that it was excessive? When the Minister of Health didn't declare his friendship with Markie May, but yet still seems as if he influenced 80 odd million water contract to same company. That never sound excessive. When they use the taxpaying dollars to lease for some 30 years unoccupied buildings, and up to a certain point they paid over $400 and odd million. Paying also $1 billion to retrofit same. Wasn't that excessive? When they took our taxpaying dollars and bought 100 old decommissioned school buses for the price tag of 1.4 billion Jamaican dollars, wasn't that excessive? When they took our taxpaying dollars and bought a surgical drill, buying the parts for the same surgical drill separately, when they could have gotten a bundle for one price, with a price tag of $31.5 million, wasn't that excessive? I tell you about this government. They are a set of failure, a set of waste. Wasted years upon years, decades upon decades of this man's life. Many others are sitting in prison now, without a trial, years upon years, breaking their constitutional right. You think 120 million for 50 wasted years is excessive? I should have more than that the man get. I should have more than that him get. A wicked set of government. Now with all the attacks in the Caribbean waters and the, excess amount of military, personnel from the United States in the Caribbean waters, we hear strikes after strikes, strike after strikes. And, we finally heard from the chair of the CARICOM, who happens to be Anju. He spoke out at an interview at the G20 summit where he went to Johannesburg, Africa, some time ago. And while his, utterances were not too clear, it seems as if he were beating around the bush. While some were saying that, it's evident that he took a stance with the United States of America. Some are even calling him, the United States puppet.
Prime Minister, I just want to finish on one point. Of course, the U.S. president is not here, but we have seen increased tensions in your region between the U.S. and Venezuela, very close to Jamaica. How do you assess the situation at this point? What are some of the risks that you see here?
We always maintain that the Caribbean is a zone of peace, and we want to ensure that it is a zone of peace. Any action that challenges that or changes that view would have or could have devastating impact on tourism, which is the major foreign exchange earner for most countries in the Caribbean. Having said that, however, there must be consideration for countries in the region for rising crime, rising transshipment and drugs. So there is need to tackle this business of drugs, transshipment, and rising crime linked to these operations in the region. So whatever is being done should be done with consideration for the economy of the region, safety and respect for the sovereignty of the people. But Jamaica does support actions against drug cartels and other actors that create crime and violence in our country.
Have you spoken to any U.S. officials about that?
We're always constantly in dialogue.
Well, here we have a congresswoman in Yvette Clarke. And if you know about Yvette Clarke, she has a great love for Jamaica. She worked alongside a Portia Simpson Miller, you know, in allowing us to get back on the IMF program and all of that. She is coming out blazing to say that the US boat strikes are unlawful and un-American, slamming every aspect of it. They're stating that they are striking, drug cartels and all of that, but we're not seeing them coming up with any form of drugs that they receive from these, ships and all of that. And so the United States Congresswoman Yvette Clarke slammed the military strikes against alleged drug boats off the coast of Venezuela and in the Pacific by the Trump administration as unlawful and un-American. She has called on the administration to cease using the United States Armed Forces for any hostilities in Venezuela or across the Caribbean, as the U.S. Congress has not authorized any such military action. Now, these are the type of leaders that, grab my attention, and I will show my utmost respect. When you're so precise, when you can come out and stand against injustice, when you can come out and give a direct message, then I see that you stand for, good governance and stand for, good leadership and standing for the people and protection of people at all costs. We know that the Caribbean waters is a peace zone, and so therefore this entire strike and all that has taken place before is unlawful. Big injustice to the fisher folks and those who use the waters for their livelihood. What says you, ABR family and viewers? Drop your comments in the comment section. Let me say, like, share, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more updates. Big up on yourself.